Hi, I'm Paul Friedman, founder of the Marriage Foundation, and today's video is the 10 worst things a wife can say to her husband. I'm going to go through these, and hopefully there's not too many on the list that you have done, but the whole idea, the whole reason behind doing a video is so that you get a better sense of your husband. One of the great failings that we have in our world of marriage broadly is that we don't get good education about marriage. We don't get a good education about the other gender. We don't even get a good education about ourselves. There's a lot of things that we simply don't know. And so we trip over ourselves in our marriage, and where we're actually with the right person 99% of the time, we bump into each other and we destroy our marriages, which should be happy. You know, you get married because you want to be happy. Duh. You also want and require, because you're a human being, you're a soul, you require love. And then we go about doing everything to ruin that, to hide the love, to kick it down, because our ego steps in, and mostly it's because we just don't understand. So hopefully this video, it's not designed to be funny. It's designed to give you really good information. So let's start with number one. Number one, when you say to your husband, "You always do that." And this is a form of condemnation. This is basically sending the message to him that he's an idiot and he doesn't learn from his mistakes, that he's a repeat offender, and it hurts. And I don't know if it hurts you if someone tells you that, "Oh, you always do that, fool." It's not a good thing. It's one of the worst, 10 worst. And so be careful. When you come up to something that annoys you, because that's usually what gets you to say something like that, stop yourself. Ask yourself, if I say this, is this going to improve my marriage? Be big picture about it. Instead of just living in the moment with your frustration, your momentary frustration, recall always that everything that you say, everything that you do, contributes to your marriage, to your own happiness. So number one, you always do that. If you always do that, don't do it anymore. Number two, "I'm busy." So what that communication is basically saying is, "I'm too busy for you." Now, put that in contrast to when you were dating and courting, and you were never too busy. Even if you were too busy, you'd get on the phone and you'd say, "I'm in the middle of this. Is it okay if I call you back? Are you sure it's going to be okay?" Hyper consideration. And a lot of people go, "Yeah, well, that's different." Yes, it is different. You were just courting and dating. Now you're married. So you want your marriage to become your treasure in your life. What you put into your marriage is what gives you the sense of appreciation, of happiness, of love. So only don't be too busy for your husband. It's painful when someone is too busy for you. There's a lot of ways to handle that. Be very careful with that. Again, stop before it comes out of your mouth and decide, what can I say that will be considerate? And your mind's going to go, no, you're too busy. It's your mind. You control it. Don't let your mind dictate your life. You dictate your mind. Number 3. This is a tough one. This is, I just wanted to have kids and you asked me to marry you. I'll be honest, even if it's true, why would you kick your husband in the teeth that way and make him feel worthless, useless? Why would you define him in such a terrible way? There's only one reason why you would. Because you're angry with him. It's not because it's the truth, whether it is or not. And it might have been the truth when you married him, but then you're supposed to turn your marriage into a hive of happiness. He's not just someone you keep around because you have no choice. If you've allowed your marriage to descend into this mundane place of, oh man, I can't wait till I die, then you're not taking charge over your life. You're suffering on your own account, not because of your husband. Your husband is sensitive, just like you're sensitive, and he should be treated with respect and love by the woman who he chose to give his life to. You know, a lot of these things are covered in my books, the courses we have, course for women, course for men, and it is well worth your time to investigate what we have. Number 4, honey, I think we should take separate vacations. What a message that's sending. So here he's working to support his family, which is natural for him as a man because he's there to protect and serve. That's sort of like the innate creed of the man, biologically. It's very deep in his subconscious mind. And now what you're telling him is I don't want to spend my leisure time with you. All I want you for is to pay the bills, to run errands, etc. If this is on your mind, what it's really doing is it's defining that your marriage is terrible. You don't have to accept that your marriage is terrible. And I don't care whether your marriage is just mundane or whether it's super terrible. One of the things that really bothers me about the Western psychological traditional marriage counseling quote-unquote model, it's not really a model, everyone does their own thing, is that they go about solving problems, but they don't deal with what constitutes an incredible marriage. And what's worse is when you go to them with a problem, they want to discuss the problem. And you may say, well, duh. And I go, no. We're talking about you have problems because your marriage is not functioning as it should. And the reason it's not functioning as it should is because you don't know how. It's not your fault. We are not taught. It's not the fault of the people who should have taught us because they don't know either. You have this little gift. It's probably the greatest gift of all. It's called free choice. And you have volition, which means with that free choice, you could put into motion anything that you choose to. But we're not even taught that. So whatever the problem is, we already know the problem is just a manifestation of your thinking not being correct. All problems are that. Your thinking isn't correct. Perception is everything. And then what you do with problems is the next thing. First of all, you perceive it as a problem right away, you've just given yourself a hurdle. You could see it as, oh, this is an interesting challenge for me to work through. I can get to the other side of this. And then it gets rid of the tension and you can go for it. And you will gain tremendously by approaching it that way. It's very important that you take control over your marriage by taking control over your own mind. So your perceptions too is a matter of choice, free will. Free will. It's not free will so you could choose chocolate over vanilla. It's free will so that you could be happy. We are human beings, and you've been happy, so that means you can be happy. Free will also gives you the ability to decide what you're going to do. And what you should do should always be what makes you happy. And what always makes you happy is love. You see how it all comes together? So you should be working towards love all the time. Happiness and love, happiness and love, that should be what a marriage is, really should. Okay, so don't talk about taking separate vacations. It's a kick in the blah, blah, blah. Instead, start working on yourself to work on your marriage so that you can enjoy your life. I mean, your marriage is everything. All right, number 5. Oh, so-and-so is a great boyfriend. He used to blah, 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 and look what you're doing. Really comparing your husband to a previous lover. Your husband does not want to know. He may ask you, but you say, honey, you're the only one who I love. You're the only one in my life. No one else was there. I never loved anyone the way I love you. And the proof of that, I'm giving you how to handle this. The proof of that is that I married you. I could have married other people just like you could have married other people, but you chose me and I chose you. No man wants to hear that you've had 20 boyfriends, that you've gone to bed with 100 guys or any of that stuff, because a man, one of his expectations of himself and of his wife is loyalty. And loyalty is not only the highest spiritual law, but because marriage is a spiritual relationship, it's the highest law for marriage. So you don't want to burn down a perfectly good house. All right, number 6. Oh, you shouldn't do that. So this comes out in different ways. Basically, you could say this is telling your husband what to do, what not to do. You know, it's the harassenger in you. And we all have that. It's not just a female thing, it's not just a male thing. All of us do that. And we need to be careful with that. We need to give advice when it's asked for. We don't want to jump in. Remember, you have free will. You don't like it imposed upon. He has free will. He doesn't want it imposed upon. You don't have to tell him what you're thinking. So many people think, well, I have to. Recently, we did a video, and it was about, it was for men. And it was basically, should I tell my wife to lose weight? And the answer is no, of course not. And we got comments like, well, what if it's a health issue? And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't make any difference. We are individuals, even when we're married. We have our free will, and we protect it. And so even if you tell your husband what he should do, what he shouldn't do, he's going to resent it. And you don't want resentment in your sacred space of marriage. You want love. Let it go. Unless he's taking a left, and by taking a left, the road runs out and he's about to go over the cliff. And I'm not talking metaphorically. So you really can control yourself. Don't tell your husband what to do and what not to do. Okay, number 7. Why can't you just listen to me? Well, he may be, honestly, guilty. Most men are not great listeners, not good listeners, not even fair listeners. They want to fix everything right away. It's part of the biological, psychophysiological influence on the mind that a man is a warrior, a protector, and everything needs to be fixed right now, right now, right here, right now. So just smile. You don't have to resist his resistance, react to his reactions, break the cycle and let it go. Number 8, we need to go to a marriage counselor. Okay, this is a big one. First of all, marriage counselors have a success rate of under 5%. That's the truth. Now, what they've started to do is they measure their success by whether people like them. So marriage counselors are good at getting people to like them, but they don't help marriages. The second part of it, you want help for your marriage, you come to the Marriage Foundation where it's all practical, it's good. Go to our website, see what we have to offer. We have do's and don'ts, we have free things, we have the videos, we have articles. There's a whole lot of information. You may not need marriage counseling. You may be able to do well just with one of my books. And if you're at the point in your marriage where it's starting to collapse, you just use the course for women. Okay. Number 9, you're not a good father. Well, I'm here to tell you that he probably is, but he's not a father the way you would be a mother. Men or women are different. That's a fact. Mothers and fathers are different. That's a fact. You want to hang out with your father, but you go to your mother when you have a problem. And it's just the way it is. And you want to be very supportive of him. You don't want to tell him what to do, because the truth is, you don't know what a good father means, even if you had a great father. We don't know. One of the biggest things about living in this world is that most of what we learn is through trial and error. It's a learn as you go kind of thing, which is ironic, because if we get even a vacuum cleaner, we learn how to use the vacuum cleaner. To get a license, you learn how to drive. But when it comes to marriage, we don't learn anything. When it comes to raising children, we don't learn anything. For years and years and years, there was this guy, Dr. Spock, really, and he wasn't like this Dr. Spock. And he had, I can't remember the name of the book. It was this thick. My mom had it. And it was crazy. It was all wrong. It was stupid. And they used to call it the Spock generation. And now you could see kids are not turning out well either. It's just not easy to raise kids. But unless your husband is hitting your kids, come on. Your husband's not a danger to his own children. He loves them. He would throw himself in front of the car to save their lives. What more do you need than that? That makes him a good father. Number 10, I've decided to leave you. So this is very sad in this day and age. We have made disposable everything. And now we're doing disposable marriages, which is very sad. And it's sad because the opportunity to have the most amazing life by learning how to be married. Did you hear what I said? You just have to learn how to be married, and your life will be amazing. Because when a marriage is working, and use the metaphor, when a car is working, does everything you need. When a marriage is working, it does everything you need. And a marriage is supposed to, when it's working well, it will deliver ever expanding love and ever increasing happiness until the day that you die. Do not give up on your marriage. Do not leave. And don't tell me I don't understand. I was a divorce mediator over 20 years ago. I've seen it all. And then I worked with couples and I devised these systems and protocols. And trust me, I don't want you to just save your marriage. I want you to enjoy this amazing gift that we call marriage. When you learn about it, you will be humbled by what it does and what it can do for you. Leave a comment, like the video. I hope to see you again. Thank you, and God bless. Take care.